The training ground stretched endlessly under a pale green sky. Towering structures of polished metal and glass glimmered faintly as the twin suns dipped toward the horizon. This was the elite Hunter Academy, where the galaxy's most skilled warriors tested their abilities. On this day, a small human trainee stepped into the complex, unnoticed by most. Alex Kale's frame was slight compared to the towering alien trainees, but his eyes held a spark, a quiet determination that no size or shape could hide. He paused at the edge of the practice arena, observing. The alien trainees moved with fluid grace, their bodies honed over decades of rigorous training. Their muscles flexed effortlessly, their reflexes sharp, and their expressions carried the confidence of those who had conquered every challenge. Among them, Sirla stood out. Her height was impressive even among her kind, and the way she carried herself suggested she had never faced defeat. Her gaze swept the arena with a mixture of arrogance and amusement, resting finally on Alex. "Well, look at this," she said, her voice smooth but dripping with mockery. "A human. Do they even survive training, or are you just here to embarrass yourself?" But he also knew humans had something the aliens often overlooked: ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. The instructors called the trainees to the first challenge. Each would navigate a complex terrain filled with obstacles, traps, and simulated prey. The aliens moved first, leaping and dodging effortlessly, their senses attuned to every detail. Alex's first steps felt clumsy. He tripped over a low barrier and stumbled onto a patch of uneven ground. Sirla's laugh cut through the air like a knife. "Pathetic," she said. "Even a hatchling moves faster than you." He memorized patterns, noting the timing of moving obstacles and the placement of the simulated prey. While the aliens relied on speed and reflexes, he relied on observation and planning. By the middle of the exercise, Alex began to show his difference. He avoided obstacles not by jumping high or running fast, but by using clever maneuvers. He rolled under swinging barriers, climbed over walls by finding small footholds, and even used the environment to his advantage, creating small diversions to distract the mechanical prey. The aliens glanced at him occasionally, confusion flickering across their faces. They were not used to being outsmarted by someone physically weaker. Sirla's amusement turned to irritation. She had expected to dominate easily, and yet this human moved with a calm, methodical precision she could not immediately understand. When the final stage approached, a simulated hunt meant to test both skill and cunning, Sirla stepped forward. "You think you can survive this," she said, her tone sharp, "but let's see how clever you really are. Follow me." Walls shifted, platforms rose and fell, and holographic creatures sprang to life. This was no ordinary test. The simulation was designed to push trainees to their limits. Sirla leapt into the field effortlessly, her eyes scanning for weaknesses. Alex hesitated only a moment before following. He could feel his heart pounding, but he did not let fear take hold. Humans were adaptable. Humans could think when others panicked. The first holographic predator lunged at Sirla. She struck it down with ease, her movements precise and confident. Alex waited, studying her techniques. Then the next predator appeared, faster and more unpredictable. Sirla responded with fluid motion, striking with perfect timing. Alex had no hope of matching her in speed, but he noticed the pattern. Predators attacked in sequences, repeating certain movements. He began to move, not as fast but with intention. He dodged the first predator by stepping to the side, then tripped a small trap that caused the next one to be temporarily immobilized. He realized he could use the arena itself as a weapon, turning the environment against the challenges. Every alien in the arena relied on direct confrontation. Alex relied on strategy. Sirla noticed. Her eyes narrowed. "Interesting," she muttered. "You actually think." Alex anticipated attacks, set small traps, and manipulated the holographic creatures into positions where they could be neutralized safely. Sirla, frustrated, found herself countering not just the simulation but the human trainee as well. By the end of the exercise, Alex had not only survived, but had outmaneuvered several predators in ways even the instructors had not predicted. The instructors murmured among themselves. This human trainee, so small, so underestimated, had demonstrated qualities that even elite aliens struggled to exhibit: observation, improvisation, patience, and cleverness. Qualities the galaxy often ignored in humans. Sirla approached Alex at the edge of the arena, her expression a mixture of frustration and begrudging respect. You are more capable than I thought," she said, her voice unusually low. "But this is nothing. The real hunt will test everything you know." The aliens whispered, some skeptical, others curious about the humans' potential. Alex listened quietly, noting the strengths and weaknesses of each competitor. He understood that the real advantage of humanity was not in brawn but in mind and spirit. While the aliens relied on tradition and experience, humans relied on creativity and adaptability. As the twin suns set, casting long shadows across the training ground, Alex felt a quiet determination settle within him. This was only the beginning. The mockery, the doubts, the assumptions about humans, they were all tools he could use, lessons he could learn from. By the time the final challenge arrived, he would not just survive. He would prove that humanity could rise above expectation, even among the most elite hunters in the galaxy. Sleep came fitfully that night. Alex's mind raced, running simulations, planning strategies, imagining scenarios. He understood that survival was more than reflexes, it was preparation. The other trainees slept in confidence, their arrogance unshaken. But Alex slept with purpose, knowing that tomorrow would bring tests far greater than simple obstacle courses or simulated predators. Tomorrow, the true hunt would begin, and the galaxy would begin to see what humans were truly capable of. By dawn, the training ground was alive with movement again. The aliens performed their drills effortlessly, as if born to this environment. Sirla's gaze fell on Alex once more. There was a flicker of something new, an understanding that perhaps, just perhaps, the human trainee could teach even the elite something about adaptation and survival. The horn sounded, signaling the start of the next trial. Alex stepped forward, small but unbowed, and the arena shifted once again. Today, he would face more than predators. He would face the expectations of the galaxy itself, and he would meet them with the quiet confidence of a human who refused to be underestimated. For in a universe that valued strength above all, Alex carried the most dangerous weapon of all, the unpredictable human mind. And he would show them, step by careful step, that humanity was not to be mocked. The sun rose over the training ground, casting long shadows across the alien arena. The air was filled with the low hum of machinery, the occasional roar of a simulated predator, and the chatter of trainees preparing for the next exercise. Alex Kale moved quietly among them, his eyes scanning every detail. He had survived the first test, but he knew the real challenges were still ahead. Sirla, the elite alien trainee who had mocked him before, glared from across the field. Her expression was a mixture of irritation and curiosity. The instructors gathered the trainees, announcing the next trial. This time it would be a simulated hunt across uneven terrain, designed to test not only physical skill but strategy, decision-making, and adaptability. Unlike the previous exercise, there would be multiple targets moving independently, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. The aliens nodded confidently. To them, this was routine. To Alex, it was an opportunity. As the horn sounded, Sirla and the other elite hunters leapt into action, their movements precise and lightning-fast. Alex followed, slower at first, careful not to make mistakes. He remembered the lesson from yesterday. Survival was not about speed alone. It was about observation, anticipation, and using the environment wisely. The terrain shifted beneath them as they moved. Rocks slid, platforms rose and fell, and hidden obstacles tested every step. A pack of holographic predators emerged from the shadows, their claws glinting in the sunlight. The aliens attacked immediately, striking with brute force and speed. Alex hesitated a moment, then observed the predators' pattern. He noticed that their movements repeated, almost predictably. He set a small trap, a simple device made from his limited equipment, designed to slow one of the predators. It worked perfectly, causing the creature to stumble and giving him an opening. He dashed past it, not relying on strength but on timing and cleverness. The aliens glanced at him, some annoyed, some intrigued. No human had ever moved through the hunt like this before. Sirla was not used to being challenged in this way. She moved to intercept him, her steps calculated, her claws ready. "You are clever, human," she said, her voice sharp. "But cleverness will not save you here." She landed on the wrong path, her frustration evident. Alex pressed on, careful, methodical. The other trainees began to notice. Alien hunters whispered among themselves, surprised by Alex's ability to anticipate moves, manipulate the environment, and survive situations that would have crushed anyone else. His small frame allowed him to squeeze into spaces the aliens could not reach, and his mind worked faster than his legs could move. He was a strategist in a world built for warriors. Midway through the hunt, Alex encountered a simulated predator much larger than any he had faced before. Its glowing eyes scanned the terrain, searching for prey. The aliens charged immediately, confident in their ability to overpower it. Alex paused, studying its behavior. He noticed a weakness in its attack sequence, a delay after each strike. Using this knowledge, he led the creature into a trap he had prepared earlier. With precise timing, he triggered a mechanism that immobilized the predator, neutralizing the threat without direct confrontation. Sirla watched, her confidence faltering. This human was not only surviving but controlling the battlefield in a way she had never seen. Her pride demanded that she intervene, so she advanced toward him again. Alex anticipated this and set a subtle diversion. A small energy flare erupted nearby, drawing her attention. While she was distracted, he slipped past, moving toward the next challenge with careful precision. The hunt continued, and Alex's reputation grew. He outmaneuvered multiple predators, avoided traps, and used the terrain to his advantage. The instructors whispered among themselves, impressed by his performance. Even the elite council had to reconsider their assumptions about human capability. As the final stage approached, Sirla confronted him directly. "Enough games," she said, her tone sharp. "You will face me now." Alex dodged and rolled, using her momentum against her. He anticipated her next move, stepping aside at the exact moment she lunged, causing her to stumble. The other aliens watched in stunned silence. They had never seen a human control the pace of a hunt in this way. Every step Alex took was calculated, every maneuver deliberate. He used the environment to create distractions, traps, and openings. Sirla found herself reacting to him, not the other way around. Finally, Alex saw his opportunity. A narrow ledge above a pit of simulated lava created a vulnerable position. He guided Sirla toward it, subtly adjusting her path with precise movements and distractions. As she reached the ledge, Alex triggered a mechanism that caused the platform beneath her to tilt slightly. She caught herself, but it was enough to break her rhythm. Alex moved past her, finishing the hunt successfully. The arena fell silent. Even the instructors were impressed. A human had not only survived the hunt, but had outperformed several elite alien trainees. Sirla stood at the edge of the ledge, breathing heavily, her expression a mixture of frustration and reluctant respect. "You are not what I expected," she said, her voice low. "But this is only the beginning. The real tests will push you further than you have ever imagined." The hunt had been a simulation, a controlled environment designed to test skill. The real challenges would be unpredictable, dangerous, and demanding. But he felt ready. He had proven that human ingenuity, adaptability, and perseverance could match alien strength and experience. As the trainees left the arena, whispers followed him. Aliens who had once mocked him now looked with curiosity, even admiration. Alex moved quietly, observing, learning. He understood that every step, every decision, every clever maneuver built his advantage. Humans were underestimated, but that underestimation was a tool he could use. That evening, as the twin suns set, Alex reflected on the day's events. He had faced mockery, doubt, and overwhelming odds, and he had survived. More than survived, he had excelled. He knew that each success, no matter how small, chipped away at the arrogance of the elite hunters and the instructors who doubted him. Sleep came later than usual. Alex's mind raced with possibilities, strategies, and adaptations. He imagined every potential scenario, predicting how the aliens might react and how he could turn each situation to his advantage. While others slept with confidence, he rested lightly, preparing for the challenges ahead. The next morning brought a new trial. This time, the instructors announced that trainees would face team-based exercises, requiring cooperation, strategy, and quick decision-making. Alex realized that humans had another advantage: the ability to inspire and work with others, even those who were different. He observed his fellow trainees, noting strengths, weaknesses, and patterns. When the horn sounded, chaos erupted. Aliens moved with practiced precision, coordinating seamlessly. Alex stayed calm. He used subtle gestures, eye contact, and careful positioning to guide his team. They responded quickly, adapting to his leadership. While the aliens relied on raw skill and pre-programmed tactics, Alex's approach was flexible, responsive, and creative. The team navigated complex obstacles, neutralized multiple threats, and retrieved objectives faster than any other group. The instructors were astonished. Alex had not only survived once again, but had elevated those around him, demonstrating leadership that even the most experienced aliens lacked. Sirla watched from the sidelines, her expression unreadable. She had once mocked him, confident that a human could never match her skill. Now she saw the truth. Human adaptability and intelligence were formidable weapons, capable of turning the tide against even the most elite hunters. As the day ended, Alex stood quietly at the edge of the arena, observing the sun dip behind the horizon. He thought about the challenges to come, the dangers he would face, and the opportunities to prove humanity's strength. He knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long, and he was determined to show them what his kind could achieve. Even in the face of mockery, doubt, and overwhelming odds, Alex felt a quiet confidence. He had discovered his strengths, honed his skills, and learned the power of human ingenuity and teamwork. The elite hunters might retreat, the instructors might question, and Sirla might resist, but Alex knew one thing: humans were not to be underestimated, and he would ensure the galaxy understood it. The arena was quiet before the storm. The instructors had arranged the next trial to be the most difficult yet, a full-scale simulated hunt designed for elite hunters. Every obstacle, predator, and terrain shift would test skill, endurance, and cunning. Alex Kale walked into the arena calmly, noting every detail. Unlike the aliens, who relied on instinct and brute strength, he relied on observation, timing, and clever improvisation. He had learned quickly that survival often depended more on mind than muscle. Word of his previous performances had spread. Whispers among the alien trainees were filled with surprise and disbelief. "The human," they murmured. "He moves like nothing we have ever seen." Some watched in cautious admiration, while others in jealousy, refusing to accept that a human could surpass them. Sirla stood at the center of the arena, her usual arrogance tempered by cautious calculation. She had faced Alex before, yet his adaptability had shaken her confidence. Today, she would not underestimate him. She would ensure that this human understood the limits of his abilities. The horn sounded, echoing across the vast arena. Immediately, the aliens surged forward, confident in their skill. Alex followed, moving with quiet precision. The terrain shifted unpredictably. Cliffs rose where there had been none, platforms tilted unexpectedly, and holographic predators sprang from hidden alcoves. The elite hunters attacked the challenges directly, striking with practiced force and precision. Alex waited, analyzing patterns, looking for weaknesses in both the environment and his opponents. The first predator leapt from a high ledge, a simulated creature larger and faster than anything Alex had faced before. The aliens lunged, their speed impressive but predictable. Alex sidestepped, leading the creature into a narrow corridor where its size became a disadvantage. He triggered a simple mechanism, collapsing part of the wall to block its path. The predator struggled, giving Alex the chance to move safely through the corridor. Sirla noticed and approached. "Clever," she said sharply, "but cleverness alone cannot win here." She lunged at him, claws extended, precise and powerful. Alex stepped aside, using her momentum to guide her toward a false trap. Sirla stumbled, caught herself, but her rhythm had been broken. She glared at him, now fully aware that this human was no ordinary trainee. The other alien hunters, initially dismissive, began to feel tension. They had trained for decades under the same instructors, yet they struggled to predict Alex's movements. He did not act like them. He observed, adapted, and used the arena itself as a tool. Where the aliens relied on direct attack, Alex relied on strategy, improvisation, and timing. Midway through the hunt, a group of predators appeared, surrounding Alex. The aliens charged forward, confident they could overwhelm him. Alex did not panic. He noted the creatures' positions and synchronized attacks. Using quick thinking, he created small diversions, collapsing ledges, triggering energy flares, and leading the predators into dead ends. One by one, the creatures were neutralized, often without direct confrontation. Sirla's frustration grew. She had trained to perfection, yet she could not outmaneuver him. Alex's moves were unpredictable, his decisions quick, his timing precise. He anticipated not only the predators' attacks, but the aliens' reactions as well. Then came the elite hunters' coordinated assault. Sirla led the charge, using synchronized moves she had taught to her team. The aliens moved like a single organism, striking at Alex from multiple angles. He could not confront them head-on. Instead, he used the arena itself. He led them through a section where platforms shifted rapidly, forcing them to split and lose coordination. He triggered energy barriers to delay their attacks, and used small environmental hazards to slow their advance. The elite hunters stumbled, frustrated and confused. They had never faced an opponent who could manipulate the terrain and anticipate their movements simultaneously. Alex moved with precision, striking where necessary, evading when required, and always staying one step ahead. As the hunt continued, the arena's final stage appeared, a large open field with scattered obstacles and a high vantage point. From this position, the aliens could use their superior strength and speed to dominate. Alex assessed the terrain. He noticed that the shadows from the obstacles created patterns, hiding his movements while exposing the aliens' positions. He used this to his advantage, moving quietly and drawing the hunters into traps he had prepared in advance. Sirla, realizing she had underestimated him, charged directly. Alex anticipated her move. He darted to the side, causing her to fall into a pit that had been rigged to slow predators. She recovered quickly, but her confidence was shaken. Alex did not gloat. He continued his focus, knowing that patience and precision were his greatest weapons. The other hunters attempted to flank him, but Alex had studied their patterns from previous trials. He moved unpredictably, always where they least expected. One by one, the elite hunters were forced to retreat, their coordinated attack broken by his strategy. They could not rely on strength alone. Alex's mind had turned the arena against them. Sirla finally stopped, breathing heavily, her claws retracted. "Enough," she said, her voice low, tinged with reluctant respect. "You are different. This human, he fights in a way we cannot anticipate." The instructors, who had watched in silent fascination, stepped forward. "This is unprecedented," one said. "No human trainee has ever demonstrated such adaptability and precision under pressure." Another added, "He has not only survived but forced the elite hunters to retreat. This is a lesson in strategy and intelligence, not just strength." Even Sirla could not argue against the truth. Alex had turned what the aliens considered routine into a showcase of human capability. His size, his physical limitations, had not prevented him from dominating the hunt through mind and ingenuity. Later, as trainees exited the arena, whispers followed him. Some aliens were skeptical, unwilling to admit the truth, while others looked on with awe. Alex moved quietly, observing the reactions. He knew that respect would take time, but he had begun to earn it. His performance had shown that humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and capable of outthinking even the most elite hunters. That evening, the instructors gathered the trainees for review. Alex listened carefully, noting their comments and observations. They discussed strategy, timing, and adaptation, qualities he had relied on to survive and excel. The elite hunters had been forced to retreat not because they were weak, but because they had underestimated a human. Sirla approached him quietly, away from the others. "You are remarkable," she said, her voice low. "But do not think this means victory. The trials ahead will be harder." The galaxy does not give respect easily. Today, he had forced the elite hunters to retreat, not through brute strength, but through cleverness, observation, and patience. He had demonstrated the power of human adaptability, proving that even in a galaxy of towering, skilled alien warriors, a human mind could be a force to be reckoned with. Sleep came that night with a sense of purpose. Alex's thoughts raced, running simulations, planning strategies for the next trials. He knew that the elite hunters would not forget today, nor would they underestimate him again. Humanity had made its mark, not with overwhelming power, but with ingenuity, courage, and resilience. By dawn, Alex was already preparing. The arena awaited, and with it, challenges that would test every skill he had learned. The galaxy might doubt humans, the elite hunters might resist, and Sirla might challenge him again. But Alex knew this. No matter how strong the opponent, human adaptability and intelligence could triumph. And so, as the twin suns rose once more, Alex stepped forward into the arena. The elite hunters watched, wary this time, for they knew that the human before them was not an ordinary opponent. He was unpredictable, clever, and fearless. He was a human, and he would continue to show the galaxy what his kind was capable of. The arena was quiet, almost tense, as the instructors prepared the final trial for the trainees. This trial was unlike any other. It combined all previous challenges, terrain obstacles, unpredictable predators, and tactical opposition, but added one more layer. The elite hunter teams themselves would act as the opposition. Today, the trainees would face the ultimate test, designed to push them beyond endurance, speed, and reflexes. Alex Kale stood at the edge of the field, his heart steady, his mind alert. He knew this trial would demand everything he had learned, and more. The instructors explained the rules. Each trainee would attempt to retrieve a small energy core located at the center of a vast, complex arena. The core was heavily guarded by holographic predators, environmental hazards, and the elite hunters. If a trainee failed to reach it within the time limit, the simulation would end in failure. Many had failed this trial before, some even in the early stages, but Alex did not feel fear. He felt determination. Sirla approached him, her expression serious, a rare sight for the usually arrogant elite hunter. "This will test your mind and body like never before," she said. "Do not think you can survive without strategy, and do not think I will hold back." The elite hunters moved with perfect synchronization, ready to intercept anyone attempting to reach the energy core. Alex paused only briefly, observing patterns. He noticed the predators' movement cycles, the shifting terrain, and the positions of the elite hunters. Then he moved carefully, deliberately. Each step was calculated. Unlike the aliens, who relied on speed and strength to overwhelm obstacles, Alex used planning and timing. He avoided direct confrontation whenever possible, choosing routes that minimized risk while maximizing control of the battlefield. Early in the trial, a predator lunged toward him, claws extended. Alex sidestepped and triggered a hidden trap nearby, causing the predator to stumble and giving him a small window to move forward. Sirla noticed immediately and adjusted her position to intercept him. Alex did not panic. He anticipated her moves, leading her through a narrow corridor that limited her advantage. She lunged, but Alex slipped past, leaving her slightly off balance. The other elite hunters quickly joined the pursuit. Alex could not confront them directly. Instead, he used environmental hazards to his advantage. He led the hunters toward sections where platforms tilted, forcing them to split or lose balance. Small energy barriers, previously unnoticed, slowed their advance. Holographic predators were redirected into their path, further dividing their focus. Alex's mind worked faster than ever. He visualized every move, predicting both alien and predator actions. Every step he took was precise, every decision deliberate. Where brute strength had failed, human ingenuity thrived. Midway through the arena, Alex faced a particularly dangerous challenge. A wide pit blocked his path, filled with energy currents designed to knock trainees off balance. Sirla positioned herself on the other side, confident he would never cross. But Alex noticed a series of small footholds barely visible along the edge. Using careful balance and timing, he leapt across the pit, barely touching the energy currents. Sirla lunged to intercept him, but he had already moved beyond her reach, using speed, strategy, and observation in perfect harmony. The elite hunters were growing frustrated. They were trained for years to dominate every trial, yet this human consistently outmaneuvered them. They had strength, speed, and experience, but Alex had unpredictability, intelligence, and patience. Each misstep they made allowed him to advance further into the arena. As Alex reached the final stretch, the energy core came into view, glowing brightly atop a raised platform surrounded by a complex array of obstacles. Predators patrolled the area, and the elite hunters positioned themselves to block any approach. Many would have panicked, relying on force or speed to push forward, but Alex remained calm. He had learned from every trial, every confrontation, every challenge. This was not about power, it was about precision and strategy. He observed the hunters' formation, noticing gaps between their positions. The terrain offered opportunities, a series of tilting platforms, a small overhead barrier, and a moving wall he could use as a shield. Timing was critical. One wrong move could mean failure. But Alex was patient. He waited, watching the hunters shift, the predators move, and the platforms adjust. Then, with careful timing, he made his move. He darted forward, using the tilting platforms to mask his approach. A predator lunged at him, but he sidestepped and triggered a small diversion, sending it away from the energy core. He vaulted over the moving wall, landing in a position that placed the elite hunters behind him. Sirla moved to block him, but Alex anticipated her step. He used the environment to guide her past the core, effectively neutralizing her position without direct combat. With the final predator diverted and the elite hunters momentarily disoriented, Alex reached the energy core. He activated the retrieval mechanism with a calm, precise motion. A signal echoed throughout the arena. The core had been secured. The trial was complete. The arena fell silent. The instructors, who had been observing closely, stepped forward in astonishment. Alex had not only survived the ultimate challenge, but had outsmarted elite hunters, navigated unpredictable terrain, and neutralized threats through ingenuity rather than brute force. Sirla stood at the edge of the platform, breathing heavily, her claws retracted. For the first time, there was no arrogance in her eyes, only respect. "You have done what I did not believe possible," she said quietly. Humans, you are unpredictable, resourceful, and capable in ways I could not have imagined. I misjudged you. No human has ever completed the final hunt with such precision and strategy. You have forced even the most elite hunters to acknowledge human potential. Another added, this trial was meant to push the limits of trainees. Today, a human has shown that adaptability, intelligence, and courage are just as valuable as strength and speed. Alien hunters who had once dismissed humans now whispered among themselves, reevaluating everything they knew about the species. Alex, small and unassuming, had changed the way the elite viewed humanity. Sirla approached him once more, a rare smile breaking across her face. I see now that humans cannot be underestimated, she said. Your mind, your patience, and your strategy are as sharp as any weapon. The galaxy may not understand it yet, but they will learn. Every obstacle, every predator, and every elite hunter had been a challenge, but he had used them to demonstrate that humanity's greatest strength was its adaptability and resourcefulness. As the twin suns set over the arena, Alex reflected on the trials he had faced. He had survived, excelled, and forced even the most skilled opponents to acknowledge his capabilities. Humanity had often been underestimated, dismissed as fragile or weak. But Alex had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, a human could think, adapt, and overcome. That night, as he rested, Alex's mind replayed every movement, every decision, and every tactic. He had learned not just how to survive, but how to thrive. The galaxy had witnessed a demonstration of human potential, and Alex knew that the respect earned today was only the beginning. For tomorrow, new challenges would arise, and humans would continue to prove that intelligence, courage, and adaptability could overcome any obstacle, even in a galaxy dominated by beings far stronger and faster. And Alex Kale, small in size but mighty in mind, would be at the forefront of that demonstration, a symbol of what humanity could achieve. The arena was quiet before the final ceremony. The challenges had ended, but the echoes of Alex Kale's performance still reverberated throughout the complex. Elite hunters who had once dismissed him now watched him with a mix of respect and disbelief. For days, he had faced impossible terrain, dangerous predators, and coordinated attacks from the galaxy's finest warriors. He had survived and excelled, not through raw power, but through intelligence, strategy, and adaptability. Humanity had made its mark, and Alex stood at the center of it all, calm and unassuming as ever. The instructors gathered the trainees, announcing the final evaluations. Every human and alien participant had been tested, but Alex's accomplishments were unlike anything they had ever recorded. He had completed the final hunt, forced elite hunters to retreat, and shown remarkable leadership and teamwork. Even Sirla, once his fiercest critic, now stood quietly beside him, her eyes reflecting reluctant admiration. Alex Kale, the chief instructor began, your performance in these trials has been extraordinary. You have demonstrated courage, intelligence, and adaptability beyond what any human or alien trainee has shown. You have proven that strength is not the only path to victory, and that strategy and creativity can overcome even the most formidable opposition. Sirla stepped forward. Her voice, usually sharp and commanding, held a tone of respect. I misjudged you, human, she said. I mocked you, believing that you were unworthy of these trials. I was wrong. You have proven that human ingenuity and resilience can rival the finest hunters of the galaxy. I am honored to have faced you. He had no intention of belittling her. Respect was earned, not demanded. And today he had earned it not only from Sirla, but from every instructor and trainee watching. The final ceremony began. Trainees were awarded recognition for their skills, strategy, and teamwork. When Alex's name was called, a hush fell over the arena. For the first time in history, a human trainee was being recognized as among the top performers in a field dominated by beings far stronger, faster, and more experienced. He stepped forward calmly, retrieving his award, a simple emblem representing mastery of the hunt. It was not ornate or flashy, but it carried immense weight, proof that humans could excel where others doubted them. The audience watched as Alex returned to Sirla's side. She extended her hand, a gesture rarely offered by her kind. Alex shook it firmly. The gesture was small, yet it spoke volumes. Respect had been given, and humanity had been acknowledged. The elite hunters who had once mocked him now watched with quiet admiration, realizing that intelligence, adaptability, and courage were just as valuable as physical strength. As the ceremony concluded, the instructors addressed all trainees. Let this be a lesson, one said. that every species, no matter how small or underestimated, has the potential to excel. Today, humanity has reminded us that assumptions can be dangerous, and that ingenuity and courage can overcome obstacles no matter the odds. Others whispered quietly, wondering how one human could move, think, and react in ways they had never anticipated. Alex noticed the subtle shift in attitude. Humans were no longer seen as weak, fragile, or predictable. They were recognized as adaptable, resilient, and clever, worthy of respect and caution in equal measure. Sirla spoke to him quietly, her tone now sincere. The galaxy may not accept humans easily, but today you have changed minds. You have shown what your species can do when underestimated. Your kind is dangerous, not because of strength, but because of mind, spirit, and courage. The rest will follow. The galaxy had underestimated humans, but Alex had proven that underestimation was humanity's advantage. It allowed them to surprise, outthink, and overcome opponents far more experienced than themselves. The elite hunters, now his peers in recognition if not in ability, approached him one by one. Some offered quiet words of respect, others nodded in silent acknowledgement. Even Sirla, his former critic, had begun to mentor him in small ways, a gesture that carried more meaning than any award. Humans had earned a place among the galaxy's elite not by sheer power but by resilience, ingenuity, and determination. Alex knew this was only the beginning. The trials had tested him, but they were just a small part of the greater galaxy. Many challenges awaited humanity beyond the walls of this training complex. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers and opportunities. Yet Alex felt a quiet confidence, knowing that humans had proven one simple truth. When underestimated, humanity could achieve greatness in ways others could not predict. That night he looked up at the stars, the twin suns dipping below the horizon. The light reflected on the polished metal of the arena, shimmering across the complex like a promise of the future. Humans were no longer the weakest, no longer easily dismissed. They were innovators, strategists, and survivors, capable of adapting to any situation and rising to any challenge. Sirla approached him one last time before he retired to rest. "Remember this," she said softly. "Humans are unpredictable. That is your greatest weapon. The galaxy will learn to respect it, even if it takes time." He had achieved what many thought impossible. He had faced ridicule, danger, and impossible odds, and emerged as a symbol of what humans could accomplish. The galaxy had witnessed a human triumph not through force, but through courage, cleverness, and adaptability. In the days that followed, word of Alex's accomplishments spread beyond the training complex. Across the galaxy, beings who had once underestimated humans began to reconsider their assumptions. Humans were no longer the predictable, fragile species they had assumed. They were clever, resourceful, and capable of changing the course of any challenge. Alex Kale's journey through the trials had ended, but humanity's story was only beginning. The galaxy had learned a lesson in humility, and humans had earned a new kind of respect, not because of strength, but because they had shown that mind, heart, and ingenuity could overcome even the greatest obstacles. And as Alex looked toward the horizon, he knew that humanity would continue to prove itself, step by careful step, in a universe that had underestimated it for far too long. The mockery had ended, the doubt had faded, and the galaxy would never again look at humans in the same way. Humanity had risen, not through brute force, but through cleverness, courage, and relentless determination, leaving a legacy that would be remembered for generations. The sun set completely, leaving the arena bathed in twilight. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time it understood that humans were not to be dismissed. They were adaptable, fearless, and unstoppable in ways no one had predicted. And in the center of it all stood Alex Kale, small in size but mighty in mind, the embodiment of human ingenuity and spirit.